Hi, this is Monster again. I am doing another video on tarantulas. I don't believe I mentioned anything about their heating system. A heat mat is quite beneficial towards tarantulas. Obviously you will need to monitor that because you don't want them to get too hot, so you still have a hot and a cold side of the tank. A heat mat just goes on this, can go on the side of the tank or underneath the tank. For this size of enclosure, I would say a very small heat mat would do. I just thought I'd mention that, and they get fed once a week. Depending on the size of the spider, they can be fed 2 or 3 crickets, depending on the size. But this one itself is being fed on 1 locust because of the size of it. When they go through a shed, their rear actually goes down in weight because it takes that much energy for them to actually shed, and it's where they spin their webs. I just thought I'd say that little bit of information because I feel like I left it out, and I don't really want to leave any information out really. The water that you spray around the tank has to be lukewarm. When you clean the tank out, don't use vivarium cleaner because it will harm them. So lukewarm water would really do for that. Lukewarm water, as I said, would do for that. Keep an eye on them when they're shedding, because some tarantulas, when they go through a shed, they can struggle to come out of their shed and they can die. Same with any insect really, depending on the animal itself, on the type of animal it is. So it's why you've got to keep your tank to the ideal conditions. Otherwise it's going to get stressed out and die, or just die because the temperature's not right, the humidity's not right. Other than that, you should be fine. And I believe I mentioned this in the earlier video, you don't have to handle them that frequently. In fact, handling them can actually stress them out. I believe I mentioned this before, but wasn't quite sure. So I'm just making sure it's drilled into your heads, because if it stresses the animal out, it's not really that fair. If you're thinking more about yourself and not for the spider, then that's not really good. You need to think about what's best for it and not what's best for you. When you're finished handling a spider, you need to make sure you've washed and dried your hands, because the hairs actually stick to your hand and that can get into your clothing, anywhere really. But they are really simplistic pets and ideal. In fact, they require the least amount of care. This is Monster over and out. Like and subscribe please, and this is part 2. Thank you guys. I've also placed the animal enclosure on this specific surface so I can actually do this video. This isn't where I would normally keep the spider. I'm just stressing that out because I'm trying to provide accurate information towards fellow YouTubers. Whenever purchasing an animal, I always say that people should research the animal or research the animal when they've bought it. Ideally, go to a local pet shop and find out all your information, because the internet isn't really a good solution. And I always believe in reading encyclopedias on how to keep pets, how to look after pets, specific pets. Because the reality is, if you're just getting into something, you know, you're starting from rock bottom and you're not going to know much on anything. So, yeah, gain a general knowledge of the animal by buying a book or asking an employee in a pet shop before you buy it. Ask as many questions as you want, and you should have the answers that you seek. This is Monster, over and out. I said that before in the video, but I'm thinking of more information to add to this video to better educate people. And like and subscribe, please. Thank you.